My name is Rick Rebasel. I'm the Principal Consultant for Business Transition Consulting. I'd like to talk to you today about the things that business owners might do wrong. It's a checklist of things that I've seen over and over in my years as a consultant. The first thing that I'd like business owners to be aware of is not having all of their net worth in a business. I've dealt with many business owners who feel very comfortable with their profitable business, even though that business is the primary asset and constitutes most of their net worth. If you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it shows that about half of all existing businesses are out of business in 5 years. And that's about as good a definition of business risk that I can think of. Having the value of your net worth in a business is risky. It's subject to business risk. And a goal owners should have is transferring money over time. As much as the value that can be transferred without hurting the business, there should be an effort to try and transfer as much of the value in the business to investment risk. Investment risk, such as investing in CDs or other safe investments, is certainly much less of a risk than investing in a business. But many business owners, because they are comfortable with their business, because their business has reached a profitable level, cease striving to pull value out of the business and subject their net worth to less of a risk. Many founders who begin a business are talented and creative people and have a service or a product that is truly unique. It starts out as a niche product and becomes profitable, and the business then is faced with a challenge of turning that kind of production or service into something that can be replicated and done on a larger scale. A business to grow and a business to remain profitable in a competitive society must have delegation and training. The founder-owner can't continue to be the productive element of the business, and the founder-owner often is the ideal person to train new people to do the work of the business. But frequently we see that founder-owners get very, very complacent and see themselves as the most valuable asset of the business. This restricts business growth, and it restricts profitability, and it makes the business much more risky because the success of the business is centered on a few people, or perhaps just even one person. When a business starts out, the decision making is completely different than when the business is beginning to grow. A profitable business is going to have to continue to grow to remain profitable in the competitive society that we have today. And in order to do that, the decision-making process is completely different than the decision-making process at the startup. A big part of that difference has to do with working with a group. As the business becomes larger, it becomes more and more difficult to bring new ideas to the business and to have those ideas executed by the employees of the business. One of the most important concepts for a founder-owner to use is the concept of group decision-making. Now, group decision-making means that decision-making becomes part of an overall endeavor of the business, that decisions are not held secret and then suddenly sprung on the employees, but ideas are developed with the input of employees, and when they are documented and executed, the employees feel more vested and are more willing to promote the ideas and the planning. Many owners do not have this kind of a process. Many owners are looking at the mirror just like they did when they started the business, and they don't really understand why employees are not vested in the planning that is being promoted by the decision-making group. A process that involves group decision-making will involve those who are affected by the plan, and this will make the plan that much easier to execute. A founder-owner who stays a manager has done one thing very well, and that is gone from being a productive element of the business to being someone who is managing employees, perhaps training, and the delegation element has been accomplished. But it's important for an owner in a growing business, as part of the business cycle, to stop being a manager at some point. The most important reason for this is that managers are important elements of the business process. If an owner is essential to the success of the business, then the owner is not going to get the complete value of the business out, because when the owner wants to sell, the owner will not sell himself or herself. They're selling the business as it exists in the hands of the buyer. And the buyer is usually not going to want to buy the seller's services for a period of time. So when a business is constituted so that it is in fact a business that has all the managerial elements intact and will be transferred as an intact management unit, that business will be valued more highly. As an owner, you should ask yourself, am I essential to the success of the business? If you are, then your business is worth less than it should be. An owner should not be essential to the success of the business, and that's a goal that should be kept in mind. A critical problem for owners is that where there is a single owner, there's no way to ensure the value of the business. With multiple owners, the owners can enter into a owner's agreement with buy-sell provisions. This is essential to ensure the value of the business. However, obviously a sole owner cannot do this. I generally advocate that a sole owner bring in other owners for this reason alone. Now, there are many other benefits to bringing in other owners that aren't really relevant to this topic, but I do encourage having other owners. But there is a negative side to it, and that has to do with control. Minority owners have legal rights, and they are enforced by state statute. Now, these issues can be managed in an owner agreement that's a quality document, that's a competent owner agreement. But that owner agreement may also have buy-sell provisions, which is extremely beneficial to all the owners. The best format for a business is multiple ownership with a competent quality owner agreement that controls the issues with owner control and also provides insurance for the value of the business interests. Finally, a business needs to be managed for value. So many of the metrics that have to do with production, that have to do with marketing, that have to do with sales are very, very important. But from the standpoint of the reason the business was formed, the reason the owner is developing the business, is to get the most value out of the business as possible. We don't always know when that's going to happen. We don't always know when we're going to have to sell the business. Therefore, managing the business for value is very, very important. Ask yourself, would I buy this business? Knowing what I know about the business, which is quite a bit, would I buy it? And for what amount? If you wouldn't buy the business, then you have a lot of work to do. If you're discounting the business because you know of some problems, then you need to solve those problems. And this is called management for value. Another perception of it is prior diligence. A sophisticated buyer will have due diligence that they want to complete before purchasing the business. Prior diligence is the concept that the seller needs to prepare for that diligence checklist. And by doing it before there's even a buyer known, the business will be managed at a much higher level, and the value of the business will be higher. Hopefully this has given you some thought about how you might do a better job with your business. Most of the time, these problems are managed. Once you are aware of the problems, you need to deal with them. You need to go through different procedures to manage the problem. They don't go away, but if you're aware of these problems, then you will do better than someone who either ignores these issues or procrastinates doing something about them. I appreciate you watching this video.